Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper, the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are Minions 2, Sora Luna.
Hello. Hello, hello.
DrFunctional.
He's already got my blood boiling and the show hasn't even started yet. Hi!
Yeah, in the pre-show it was the, what do you want to talk about? What do you not want to talk about?
And so, of course, Harry eggs me on and starts talking about it.
Hey, cannibalistic wizard. You know, I like being called a wizard. That's, you know, of all the things that I've been called, that's probably one of the better ones.
You're a Harry wizard.
It really is.
Hey, cannibalistic.
I mean, you know, if you're going to be called something, that's pretty great. I would love to be a real wizard. Man, I wish magic was real. Wouldn't that just be exciting if like there was like the secret to the universe that nobody knew, and if you did, there was just like this little incantation and you tried really hard, you could just be secretly awesome and have all your magic and stuff. I think that's why urban fantasy is so popular. Sora.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yes,
you read urban fantasy, right?
I do.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if you just pulled back the veil and everything was just like magical and special?
Yeah.
God, that'd be fun.
The only thing is with most of these is that if they did when people peek behind the veil looks back. You know, everything behind the veil now knows. Is aware that you know.
Yeah.
And then that's where the troubles happen.
Yeah.
But makes for a good story.
That's why I like magic of 40K.
Wait, Kefki.
Because the magic has a chance to like look back at you and kill you. Or drive you insane.
Oh, so we have Kefki, huh? Goose, huh? Okay. Yeah, usually, so Kefki, I always try when I see Kefki on another show to show up using my alt, which is the, what is it? The Interstate Barbecue Appreciation Society.
Oh. You did not.
I do. It used to be Pluto is not a planet. And then I changed it to tease Sora to Sunfish are terrible. And then, and now it's Interstate Barbecue Appreciation Society. So it started by me teasing Jenna, then teasing Sora, now Kefki. So I'm going to have to move on to teasing somebody else because I figure at this point, Kefki's either going to eat the barbecue or not, and there's not much I can do about it.
Or you mash it all together. Sunfish, Interstate Barbecue, Pluto is not a planet appreciation club.
I could.
That runs the gamut.
I do actually listen to Kefki's show sometimes on Sunday, and man, I mean, it must be a real shock for people to go from this to Kefki's show, which has just this incredibly fantastic manic energy to it. You know, I hardly ever scream about anything, and Kefki screams about everything. It's pretty awesome.
You should hear us on the Thursday.
You need a balance. It's the balance, you know?
Yeah.
Because you have her and Tyr doing their high energy stuff, and then you have me and Mitch Nemo who are a little bit more we can be passionate, but we're a little bit more level headed. And it's a good time. It's fun. You need that sort of yin and yang kind of pushing opposite forces. I find it makes for good watching.
Well, I took a moment and I looked at our Social Blade score, which I've never done before.
Oh.
Okay. So I looked at the Minions Social Blade page and I noticed that, you know, we're largely staying at the same number of subscribers, but every now and then we lose one. And most of the time when we lose one, it's on Saturday night. It's kind of like people show up and go, well, this sucks. I don't want to
We're quality control, I guess.
What the hell is this show? You know, and then they just go punt and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to this idiot anymore. It's like, okay. I mean, you know, at least get a response out of people. And the response is, I'm not going to listen to this crap anymore. All right, let's say hello to everybody. Cannibalistic Wizard, Kefki, JB. Let's see, scrolling. Okay, I think that's everybody.
Right now.
That's it for now. Good.
Except for those lurkers.
Yeah, lurkers are fine. I like a good lurker.
Lurkers are the best because they just don't say anything.
So, JB, I want barbecue. Yes, I always want barbecue. I know I've told you this story before, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but my dad got me started grilling when I was just a little kid because we had this indoor grill in the kitchen. And so he he would take chicken and he'd just put melted butter and beer in the microwave. So he'd melt the butter and then add like half a can of beer and a bunch of Lowry's seasoned salt, and you'd just baste it. And if the flames ever kicked up, you just hit it with a squirt gun. That's so
based.
Yeah, and that's just how you do it. And so he actually taught me when I was like 5 or 6 to how to just start tending the grill. So I started out grilling, and later I learned about barbecue, and I've like enjoyed barbecue forever. People would go out of town and I would say, okay, it's time for Rib Fest. And I'd invite, a few friends over, and we would have just the best time just grilling up ribs, little underage drinking. It was great fun. Lots and lots of fun. So I started out early. I one time needed to get a computer fixed, and I bribed the computer repair shop by bringing in smoked ribs for everybody. So my love of barbecue goes way back. I could talk about barbecue all night, but we're not going to. So anyway, I said hi to Sora. What is new, Sora?
Well, we are having our work function for the holiday season tomorrow.
Mhm.
So that is the most exciting things happening. It's also Swifty weekend. So it's exciting for us. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Though I was downtown last night just because with a friend, and it was a lot of fun. I will say this. It was very good vibes. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow, which will probably be equally good vibes.
So I assume her show is big with lots of costume changes and all that sort of stuff.
From what I've seen, and she's here 3 days. 3 shows.
Probably not as ridiculous as in terms of pyrotechnics and weird effects as some other things, though.
Looks pretty, like from a couple of clips I've seen online from yesterday's show, it looks pretty bright and sparkly. I couldn't quite tell if they were pyrotechnics or just lots and lots of lights. But she has that thing like Coldplay had this, where you get a wristband that lights up. So it's programmed for certain songs. So the whole stadium lights up. It's a very cool effect. I really like it. So they draw pictures and stuff. So it will like go across all the audience members because everyone has this wristband of light. And then when you see it on the big picture, it's like hearts or waves or something. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
That
But
sounds cool.
yeah, like it's a little bit of FOMO because everyone's having fun. But at the same time, is like just before the resale, like last year when they went on sale, it immediately either bots or people bought them, and the resale prices was just astronomical.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Ridiculous.
That's not fun.
Hey!
Well,
What? Is he busy yelling
I
at
think
cats?
I think a cat may have knocked over something that they shouldn't have knocked over.
Like something involved with his livelihood? Yeah, could be a
I
problem.
think so.
Cats are
Yeah,
great,
that
but they kind of don't care about your well-being.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, were you using that to make money? Here, boot.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
It's just Jack. Onyxia is fine. She's not a terrorist like Jack. And no, it was we were talking about before the pre-show. In the pre-show, I bought a couple fresh herb plants, some basil and some rosemary. He knocked over the rosemary. He's like obsessed with the rosemary. He loves it. I'll be right back.
Nice. Well, remember basil. If you don't have anything else growing nearby, like whiteflies and other parasites will say, "Oh, you're in the middle of the city. Wait, what is that delicious succulent plant doing completely by itself?" And they will descend on you, as if they can. And so, just remember, you want to spray it with like dish soap and water, dilute, to kill the aphids and stuff, because otherwise things will just destroy your basil plant. Now, rosemary is pretty much indestructible as long as you just water it correctly, and it will take over everything. Like it grows to be incredibly huge. It's a shrub, but it's sort of resiny, so insects don't really. It'll live forever if you just keep its feet the right amount of wet. That's all you have to do, and rosemary will just live forever. It's a great herb, and the cat apparently likes it.
Nice. We had a really nice curry plant. I really liked our curry plant. That's another one that just sort of you leave it alone and it it will continue to live.
Yeah, a friend of mine got curry plant clippings off of Etsy, of all places, and started growing actual curry leaves, because buying them in the markets around here, they're ridiculously expensive. So, Functional, you were talking about, I asked you if you had any more tacos, and you said those things were ridiculous. You said they were $7 a taco?
Yeah, about.
If you do the
right.
conversion, excuse me, and you convert from Canadian to US, I actually ran the numbers. That's kind of, in American money, the same price as the overpriced ones you get in Silicon Valley. If you get away from the shishi, smell their own farts parts of California into like real California, where normal people live and create your food and stuff, the tacos are much cheaper here. That's the same. That works out to like $5 American, I think. So yeah, I think that's just living in a fancy city that tacos cost that much.
Now, maybe, but not 10 years ago. They would have been $3 a piece.
Yeah.
It's also they're not a fancy restaurant or anything. They're like a little hole in the wall diner.
Yep.
Probably not in the best part of town, but I mean, it's weird because like they just shut because of COVID and the fact that they were building a subway that took 6 years longer than, and it's still not open. Basically, half the businesses along this midtown high street sort of area just got shuttered forever. So, you know, the law of supply and demand would say, oh, well, there's this abundance of now rental spaces that we can't do anything with, so let's give it to people for cheap, and people should be, you know, and new businesses popped up because I assume that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
The supply outweighed the demand, so people lowered prices. But then, like, the same kind of place, not the same place because it's only been there about a half a year now. Same kind of place, just up the road a little bit. Yeah, I mean the tacos would have been like $3.50 each, and that was a air quotes nice sit down restaurant. I don't know. It's just food has always been much more expensive up here. It always has. You guys, your food is dirt cheap compared to the rest of the world, and good on you. Like, you know, you have the space. You used to grow a lot of it yourself. So did we. But because of, namely, the carbon tax and these other unconstitutional taxes that were levied without parliamentary approval, which make them illegal, and Justin Trudeau and his cabinet full of criminals, it's just 20% at every step of the supply chain is ridiculous. Just in carbon taxes, that's not including other operating taxes. It's ballooned it so egregiously. Like I told you, I found chicken wings in bulk for like 17 cents a wing, and I bought like 7 pounds of that stuff because, you know, when you find a deal that good, like you have to kind of jump on it. It's you know, smart budgeting, but it's just, in general, food is just redonkulously expensive. I bought, and it's not just restaurant food. Today, I bought 6 bagels and a small prepackaged portion of smoked salmon. $18 plus tax. So $21, $22. That's ridiculous.
I know. That's why I love to get out of Silicon Valley and go to other places to eat where it's fantastic. There's so much good food to be had here. And prices are a lot better outside. I did go to the Restaurant Supply today and I spent, I don't know, probably about $275. But I did buy like an entire primal top sirloin and a whole bunch of ground beef and just everything, you know, like grass-fed ground beef and just a whole bunch of chicken and everything. And it's like, oh, freezer's going to be nice and full. Just have to know what you're doing to save money on food. Yes, I have so many things that we could actually talk about. So, Sora, you mentioned Coldplay, didn't you? Or was that functional?
But
That was me.
no.
Okay, so I just want to. There's a few segues from what you both were saying. I just want to get to them before I forget about them. So Dick Van Dyke was in a Coldplay video at age 98. And he recreated a little bit of his penguin dance from Mary Poppins in it. And
They made him dance?
they made him dance and sing. Now, obviously, for copyright reasons, I can't do anything about, showing this to you guys. That's just not going to happen.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not do that. We have enough problems with, me driving single-digit people away. But, yeah, Dick Van Dyke stars in Coldplay video as he turns 99. He's about to turn 99, and he's just all out of fucks. He's like, I don't care if, he's not afraid of dying in the least. He just keeps busy. People love him. I mean, like I said, you live into your 90s and you got your wits about you and you're still busy doing stuff. That's winning.
That's fantastic.
That's winning. It's absolutely fantastic. I love everything about this. Yeah, Mary Poppins actor Dick Van Dyke has taken to starring role in Coldplay's latest music video as he prepares to celebrate his 99th birthday. They had to film it at his house, though. That's fine. I think you should come to him, right? That seems reasonable.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not afraid of dying. He did the thing. Fantastic. Love it. Love it. So let's see. There was another thing that Functional was talking about. Let's see. What was it you were mentioning that I was going to segue to? So much happened. I think you wanted to talk about that terrible shooting thing, right? I think you want to talk about this Functional.
Shooting.
Oh, no. That's a different thing. Okay, Biden White House is discussing preemptive pardons for those in Trump's crosshairs. Yeah, they're saying, well, now that we've completely destroyed our credibility, why don't we just pardon everybody in advance?
What an odd thing to say.
What an odd thing to say, because they're just thinking that Kash Patel is going to run the FBI and start going after all these people, and they're making this claim that somehow Trump and company have said this is something they're going to do. They're just going to put all these people in jail. There's a lot of offhand comments that are made during Trump's 3-hour-long spoken word productions that he does. But I don't believe he ever seriously said, I mean, in a way that sounded like he was really serious, that he was going to throw Fauci in jail or anything else. Did you? I mean, do you ever remember him making like a really credible threat along those lines? Because I don't, and I've been paying attention. This is just the dumbest thing.
No, but I mean, there's this new, how can you call it? Because it's obviously not direct democracy because people aren't literally voting, but there is feedback in real time that Trump and his associates are taking notice to, and it's not just, oh well, Jim Acosta said no. It's normal people who are posing real questions and real concerns about, let's say, some of these picks that he's making, where the information gets passed through the incoming presidency cabinet, and they go, you know what? People really do not seem to like person X because of reason A, B, and C. And you know what? They make good points. Let's skip and let's think of somebody else, people. Let's get on that. And it's working to the advantage right now, where before it was working completely to the detriment of your country. And still in other countries, it's still run because the media is no longer basically state controlled. Elon, love him or hate him, he has the most freest platform out there right now. And anybody saying different is lying to you, a piece of subhuman filth, and a propagandist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that because there is blood in the water. The sharks are circling, and they want people like who caused real world harm. I would even go as far as to say human rights violations and crimes against humanity, like the magical murder gnome. And that person needs to be put on trial and without, I mean, you probably know what I'm going to say without having to say it because I can't say it on YouTube, but there are specific recourses that traitors and treasonous persons can and sometimes do get as punishment, and I think that he is one of those people.
Yeah, thank you
do
for
I think
not
that
saying
everybody I don't like in the government? No, of course.
Thank you
not.
for not saying the thing.
No, of course not. But you know, there are pieces of shit in the government, and we're not just talking your Bidens, your Pelosi's, the staffers too. Like, there's a lot of garbage there that needs to be investigated, and if any crimes committed, then yes, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because that's kind of a big chunk of what the incoming presidency ran on. It was the economy stupid. It was and tied into that is stop the incoming flux of illegal immigrants and secure the borders. And then the third was, yeah, we're going to, and it carry over from his first presidency, we're going to continue to drain the swamp. Luckily now he's got a lot more knowledge of how the industry works, how the sausage is made, so he can make better decisions. And like I said, with the ability to communicate in real time to not just the base, the and the famous people, but just everyone. If you make a good enough point, it will go up the chain and people will see it. And, you know, it might not be your point, but similar points will start reverberating through the Twitter sphere. And I still hate Twitter, but whatever. It will make its way. And then, hey, look, the administration says, hey, look, we got something here. Maybe we should do something, because people seem really, really upset and harmed and whatever over this whole Dr. Fauci thing, or this I don't know, this Adam Schiff thing, or what have you. Like, there's a lot of shit flinging back and forth, so it's hard to and sometimes you don't ever truly know what's real and what's just shit flinging. So if there are real crimes, go after them.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, if it's a big if. Okay, so a lot of times people will say, I don't like X. And then they say, well, should the government do something about X, whatever X is? And so, like, for instance, take Schiff. He's a lying sack of shit. He was clearly misrepresenting things for political ends, right? That's not really illegal. And even if it was illegal, I don't know if I would want a government with the power to go after him. It's not so much that I want him to get away with it. It's just that I'm terrified at the idea of the government having that kind of power, because you know that will be misused later. I think as far as Fauci goes, unless there's like some sort of pay-for-play quid pro quo that went on where it's really actionable, what I really want is I want to know what happened. I want all of the secrets to be made public. I want to know exactly, you know, who gave what money to who and who covered up what and what letters were sent. I would love to see his reputation destroyed more than I would like to see him in jail, because I really don't want him to, you know, talking about the Fifth Amendment. We go to get the answers out of him and he clams up on the Fifth Amendment because he's subject to some sort of prosecution. I want to know every single thing about that we need to know. And I want to take steps to make it so it can never happen again. And I want both of those things more than I want to punish Fauci. Asterisk, if he did something illegal, like there's some backdoor deal where he's getting money from drug companies or something, I mean, totally.
But I don't
go
think that they're
after him.
mutually exclusive. I think you can have both. I think you can reveal what
the
happened.
criminal prosecution makes the getting the answers harder because of them clamming up and going after the Fifth Amendment. As soon as you take the criminal prosecution off the table, he can't declare the Fifth Amendment. He has to answer the questions as interrogated.
But my point is, Harry, in a situation like Fauci, you don't need him. You don't need his comments.
Yeah.
You can go after the other people that were involved. You can get maybe some deals with China and pay them off and be like, well, tell us everything. And, you know, the entire funding of gain of function directed through Fauci to the Wuhan lab, if proven to be 100%, it's enough. If you break if you break a law in another country, in your country, let's say, hypothetically, just completely made up scenario, YouTube, I send somebody in Latvia CP.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't do it from my computer because I'm not stupid, but I did it from a offshore server in China. Okay? I can still be prosecuted in the United States for disseminating child pornography. It's the same kind of thing. Gain-of-function research was outlawed in the United States for very good reasons. He went and there were higher ups to him that okayed this, and why it's being covered, because he could have easily been thrown to the lions, but there are too many bigger people behind this that helped him subvert those laws, and they went and did it anyway. So, I mean, that alone can get you thrown in jail for quite a long time. Plus all the other things of the orbiting items that I brought up earlier, that, like, you know, other things that could be attached to that as well. I don't think you necessarily need him. Now, could you offer him a deal and say, hey, look, you tell us everything, we'll put you where what's her name? Snoop Dogg's BFF.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. We'll send you to
we'll send her to where Elizabeth
went for,
Holmes is, and then they can. Yeah, my.
I mean,
my nemesis.
that's prison for people who aren't going to prison. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we're looking at the guy who said nobody's above the law. And he's the leader of the free world. So, I mean, it's got to be true, right?
Well, hold on. Let me go back to one of your basic premises, which is you're saying gain of function research is against the law. You said that. Is it
American U.S. law? Yeah.
I think there may been an executive policy. They may have taken away funding for it. If an actual law was broken, then I would hope that the forensic accountants would track that down, and by all means, throw the book at them. Put them in the place where they never see blue sky ever again. I'm totally in favor of that.
I can't go through the whole thing. I believe it's the Viral Gain of Function Research Moratorium Act of, no, that's too late. Is it 2018?
Yeah.
It was actually very recent because they were worried about like, if something escaped in North America, I mean, that's it, right?
No, I get it. Bioethics and laws like that, I'm familiar with all that stuff.
Well,
but
I'm saying that's why they push to skirt the law here and go do it other places. They do it here in Canada. They do it in Ukraine. They do it in China.
But that's the skirting the law thing. I'm not sure he did anything that would land him in jail. I want to know what the little murder gnome did and make sure that no other little murder gnomes ever do something like this ever again. I'd like to see radical transparency all throughout the government. I mean, while we're at it, It's like in a perfect world, they would sit down and they'd say, okay, list all the things that we're not supposed to tell the American public. Come up with a list and say, if it's not on that list, radical transparency. Every budget, everything should just be open. And I'm hoping
everything
that's more
should
of what
be open,
will happen.
except in cases of national defense, which, I mean, yes, it does open the door because they've opened that door already to say, oh, well, this is national matter of national defense. This is national, and we can thank Bush and the fucking post 9/11 bullshit that he pulled there for that. But I mean, I agree with you. We agree that there should be the transparency in that specific case and all cases like that, because not only should the people know, but the people have the right to know what their government is doing.
Yep. Well, we do need to move on. Sora, do you want a piece of this, or are you just happy eating popcorn and listening with this topic?
I'm vibing.
You're
so
fine.
Vibes.
She's
so good.
fine. Okay. So, the thing we were talking about. So, Sora, do you think people who are dissatisfied with healthcare decisions should run around shooting people? Yes or no? How do you feel? How do you feel about this? Because I'm guessing you're not thinking that people should vigilante justice over healthcare stuff.
Yeah, let's not do that, please.
Let's not do that.
I feel like regardless of what's going on with this, not do that.
Well, I mean, he may be an enormous piece of shit, right? But I don't necessarily want to live in a world where this kind of vigilante shit goes down and then people make light of it. I'm not a big fan of violence. This is why we keep losing subscribers on Saturday night, because I say these milquetoast middle of the road things
Hot
like
take?
I'm not in favor of violence.
Yes. What's your hot take?
Oh, yeah. My hot take is I don't care.
Oh, good.
Just like the other hundreds of thousands of people who die across the globe. Or sorry, not die, but are murdered every day. Tens of thousands of people every day across the globe that I don't care about. That isn't to say that I wish them harm or advocate that the people doing harm on them are in some way justified to do such harm. But I just don't care. And what I'm so sick of cases like this where both sides of the issue are fucking retarded. You are fucking retarded.
A lot of people are being very retarded.
You don't go. Hold on. I warned you this was going to get me going.
Okay.
You don't go like full Taylor Lorenz fucking retarded and start saying, yeah, you should kill people, or do what some people like the Young Turks, like Kyle Kalinske, like David Pakman have, and Sam Cedar and fucking Jimmy Dore have been doing, and saying, yeah, you know what? Go kill cops. Go kill these people. Yeah, you know what? Republicans, they deserve to get what comes to them and whatever if they don't take the jab or this or that or whatever. On the other side, you have people doing almost the same thing in tactic, not in exactly what they're saying. Well, no, I'm against murder. No shit, Sherlock. You're against murder? Brav fucking O. But
yeah.
You know what? It's amazing to me that this one murder you're so fucking concerned about. So fucking concerned about. And you claim to know, both sides claim to know the motivations for this person. One side, the corporate media says, oh, well, he must be a disgruntled, with a sick child or something stupid like that. And blah, 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 blah. And he wanted to take vengeance on this greedy, monstrous CEO. We don't know that.
Well, we can't mind read, nor should we. I think.
But hold on. But the opposing side will say, will work on that premises and say, well, even if he is a greedy CEO, no, stop. We don't know anything. Maybe if we had transparency on who the CEO was, but again, circle back to, that people are posting, like literal threats, and they have been for a while. Something like this happens, people still don't fucking talk about it. This isn't the root problem. This is the cause of several problems. Go ahead, Harry. Sorry.
Okay, Sora. The problem is, especially with like the life extension people going on, if you look at healthcare, there's all these incredibly expensive things that you can do for a person, right? And then in the last 6 months of life, people go through all kinds of money just because getting sick and dying is really expensive. I mean, there's no way around that. So there's an almost unlimited demand for healthcare. And as it is, we already in the United States spend 1/6 of our GDP on healthcare every year.
More per person than anybody else in the world.
Right. So private insurance companies are going to one degree or another, turn down things. I mean, but even in Canada, they don't approve every single thing somebody wants, right? I mean, there's always somebody saying no to somebody, right? There's, even in a single payer system, no is a thing that happens, right?
Well, there's they draw the line over medical necessity and aesthetics, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I can't get a boob job. Well, maybe I could get a boob job. Sora just can't go in and get a boob job.
Well, you could get a boob job in California. I mean, gender affirming care is extremely important for us.
Unless I'm getting
insurance.
cancer surgery.
Yeah. But I'm saying purely
reconstructive, but no.
But more than that, anything that's considered not the standard of care, right? In Canada, you're not going to get some expensive experimental thing is not going to get approved by the Canadian taxpayers, I would assume.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's always somebody saying no.
There's a few. You just basically sign your rights away. So if you have some unfortunate thing and there's a trial, like a drug trial, something trial, then you can sign up for it, or you're invited to it, and then that's probably expensive, but you're not paying for it. It's just that it's one of those. We have no idea if this will harm you or heal you, so
here you go. Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, United Healthcare says no a lot. Okay. From the figures I've seen, they say no more than any other big insurer in the U.S. So
I've read some really absolutely heartbreaking, sad anecdotes that people are sharing.
Yeah.
Regarding them.
Still not an excuse, and nobody on the zoo advocates the situation that did play out. But yes, there is a huge problem with all insurance industries, to be frank. This one just happens to be intertwined with the healthcare, which is very, very necessary. And just to quickly share something, Harry, my mother had MS, and she was able to enroll in a experimental trial of drugs to help retard the spread of MS, or the degradation of MS. And I mean, that's something you can opt into here. Obviously, they do go, when you get that medical care here, it is very good. The quality is very good. It's the matter of obtaining the health care. That's the killer, but but also seriously, it does kill people.
So one of the biggest insurers here in the United States that says no the least is Kaiser Permanente Medical Group. So Kaiser, so much, I think
any relation to Kaiser Soze?
No. Anything that I think in a lot of ways you can basically buy into Kaiser, kpmg.org, and get something that's probably very similar to what you get in Canada in terms of coverage and that sort of thing. They're a big organization, and in many places they're just sort of the cheapest one. Now, how people end up on shitty insurance, like, okay, I don't know if it's shitty or not, but I just know they say no a lot based on the numbers. Okay, I don't want to get sued. But United Healthcare, I have a feeling a lot of that's insurance that people get through their employers. They don't go out and buy that like they would buy personally Kaiser. They just sort of, you get a job, and then as part of your job, you get health insurance. And the things that happen with employers and agents and health plans where there are kind of kickbacks and incentives, and there's some ugly business that goes on with insurance and pharmacies, and it's just unsavory, and we don't have time to get into it. I think that consumers may not be choosing United Healthcare. They might just have it sort of thrust upon them by their employer. Well, that's why there's this shitty insurance out there that doesn't pay for enough stuff.
Which makes thanks Obama, thanks to the ACA and that stupid shit that put the insurance companies. I remember talking about this in 2012 or whatever, about them wanting to install the ACA. I'm like, this is going to cause so many people so much heartache, so much hardship, because they're going to have to get this health insurance that they don't want or can't afford, and they're going to get care that's not the care that they need or want. And when they are going to try to access it, they're going to probably go through a whole bunch of red tape, because at its very core, the modern insurance industry is a big fucking scam.
A lot of these businesses, I just look at it like as a free market person, right? So if these companies were just making ridiculous profits, right, and they were just profiting hand over fist, why wouldn't people just buy their stock and profit on other people's misery? I mean, but all kidding aside.
Well, isn't there just a limited amount of it? Because I'm pretty sure. Oh, I don't have the article handy. I was looking at members of Congress who had stock in big big medical insurance firms, and it's just like everything else.
I'm just saying, as a
rife with
consumer,
corruption.
consumer complains about the
Yes, but
thing.
I'm saying,
Like, for instance, I own a bunch of stock in Eli Lilly, and I'm making money off of the big evil drug company. People say, "Oh, these drug companies, they make huge profits." Well, you could invest in them and then you could reap the profits. The same thing with the insurance companies, but a lot of these insurance companies, you don't see them making huge profits. So is it the case that it's bad insurance because it doesn't cost very much and they say no to everything, or are they actually ripping people off? We really need somebody who's like an expert on insurance to go in and look at the 10K quarterly filings of all these different companies to figure out the right answer. I think that at the very least, if your employer offers you shitty insurance that does nobody any good, you need to seriously think about like making this important to you and maybe looking for a new job. And, if you can get a new job, or demanding that your employer, through your union rep or whatever, get insurance that doesn't suck. So, because nobody should have in like a place like the United States insurance that sucks. I don't know. I'm just sort of meandering.
Can I trigger half of you right now? Because there was a point where our socialized system was very good. We're talking very good.
But
short
over
wait
time,
times, great quality of care. But because of multiple factors, one of which including is the increasing privatization of the industry, not the biggest part, but it is decreasing quality and responsive care. The biggest contributors are things I've already gone into, like over immigration and abuse of the system and all these other factors. I'm not saying I'm not even saying it's one of the biggest chunk of the contribution to the effect of it. I just think it's kind of a funny sort of like difference that and it's not just that too. Like they privatized IDs, driver's license, and testing. And auto insurance rates went up.
And what could possibly
I'm not
go
going to go
wrong?
down that rabbit hole. Sorry.
So let me. Chat briefly mentioned what is it? The judge dismisses Daniel Penny's manslaughter charge. Well, there were two charges. The manslaughter one was the largest one, the one that could get him like real jail time. And he's the guy that put some guy in a chokehold on the train that was
Man 1 the top charge? Sorry, I get
Man 1 was the top charge. Now there are lesser charges which they're going to go back and consider. And I didn't add it to the show schedule because it isn't really resolved. So we're sort of at this halfway point. Yeah, the largest of the charges has been dropped.
Oh yeah, over the next 3-4 years, they're going to be just.
Yeah, there's still lesser charges that they're going to be dealing with. So the only reason I didn't want to talk about it is because it isn't done. I mean, there's no conclusion to it. We're halfway.
Like I said, it won't be done for another 3 to 4 years. He's going to have his life ruined for the next couple of years because he's going to be fighting all these other charges, plus the civil case from the fucking disgusting vulture of parents. It's going to be just like Kyle Rittenhouse. Eventually, hopefully, he'll get the justice he's due because he's completely fucking just and innocent in what he did. But in the meantime, they're going to be making an example of him and demoralizing people.
I mean, New York's legal system is just garbage. It really is, because Bragg would not have gone after this case under similar, differently shaded circumstances. That much we pretty much know.
I'd be okay if the federal government went into New York and California and just liberated from the communists. And while you're at it, you could send some troops up here and liberate us from the communists. And then maybe once we're all free from communists and Marxists and pieces of shit on this continent, maybe we could all team up and go march across the pond and go help our allies over there and get rid of their fucking communist problem.
Okay. There was another story. I will find it here in a moment.
Thank you, Assassin. Negligent homicide was the lesser charge. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just
which
not
is still a
resolved
serious
yet.
charge. It's just yeah. I get them mixed up because I believe up here in Canada they're reversed. Negligent homicide is a more serious charge than manslaughter.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, that's man 1. Sorry.
All right. Here, let me give you just to show you that California isn't completely stupid. Here's just it's almost like a palate cleanser the way this works.
You're damn right, assassin. Alvin Bragg deserves to be under the jail. Bart, volume?
Departing BART director gifts fellow board members with MAGA hats. So today is the last. That's the rapid transit thing. Board meeting with 4 departing directors, including me. I wanted to leave my colleagues with a final gift. But what does one give 8 San Francisco Bay Area elected Democrat directors? They seem to have everything they need. Give Bart exhaust. Essentially, they're losing like. Why is this happening? Oh, you stupid thing! I hate everything. Okay, Bart, come back here. They're losing like $350 million a year. Where else but government can you get away with that kind of nonsense? When you're spending other people's money, you can. I didn't think it was possible for a rapid transit administrator, to be so based. They must be really, really annoyed by this. I just, whenever I see signs of intelligent life in California, it always surprises me. Yeah, why not? That's fun. Sora.
Yes.
So I have a note here to myself, and I just say, what core is this, Sora?
Uh-oh.
So there's this person in a tiny house. Let's go back to that outfit.
That's a choice. There's a kind of cute little mobile homes.
What core is this?
Cult core. I have a feeling he's running some sort of a space cult. You know?
Yeah.
The way the shirt's buttoned all the way up, and there's just this necklace and
It
whatever
does
the
seem
hair
like,
hat thing's wearing.
like he would be offering to adjust chakras of women who want to become pregnant or something. I mean, I'm getting a really weird vibe off of this guy.
Yeah, he's a bit unique.
Gypsy core.
Grift. This is. I mean, it's a cute little house and stuff, but like, what the hell?
Racist,
That's why I said, what core is this, Sora? It's like some sort of neo hippie.
Yeah, it's a caravan, man.
Yeah.
The back.
I mean, it's fine if you want to live in a box and eat bugs. This is fine.
What's the proper nomenclature, though? Because I don't want to offend your people. Romani?
It's not my fucking people.
I don't think he's Romani.
You don't call Romanians that. You'll get lynched. Not my people. We don't claim
That's
them.
why I'm asking.
That's why I say it's probably knowing how
yes, the Romani people, also known as the Roma, are an ethnic group of Indo-Aryan origin who traditionally lived a nomadic, itinerant lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that hat.
Some of those
necklace.
people set down roots and became Romania.
Is this some? I mean, it's not really.
Romania comes from the Romans, not from.
It's not really cottagecore. What the hell is this? What is he?
Romani core, I'm telling you.
That's not a thing.
I almost
and besides, you're also not the arbiter of these things. Sora is.
What this is that I had very weird kind of hippie parents who raised me in a commune. I tried being part of society at one point. I got scared, and now I'm this.
Oh, I love the glass bottle that he puts his filtered water in back there. He's probably got a Berkey filter somewhere back there.
Maybe he's a Hasidic Jew.
But you understand that I rely on that. Is it
a hat or is it hair?
It's a hat. But the way this works, functional, is Sora and Serenity are the official arbiters of what core people fall into.
I'm just offering opinion.
There are style people. Well, my opinion doesn't matter, and unfortunately, neither does yours. This is Sora's job to figure these things out, because I'm clearly unqualified, and you're a dude, so you don't know either.
So if we
just to be clear, I am not an authority on anything in life, okay?
But when it comes to which core people are, Sora and Serenity are our experts. And so when I saw this, I was thinking, what is the deal with this guy? So I wanted to get your read on it.
I like his home. So if we removed the man out of the house, this would be like...
You like his castle.
Fairy core or something, or cottage witch core even, right? So the house, the idea is very sweet. I really like the decoration, everything. He just gives me, you know, the ick
I think
to
it's the
use
I live in my parents' backyard core.
I feel like he had a really tough few years that he did not have access to therapy, so this was his therapy, and it's very nice.
See, the problem is he reminds me a lot of somebody I hate. I mean, that's really making it difficult for me to be objective.
I just like his home. I don't.
Okay.
Listen.
Let me see if he's in Canada.
Why are we going to?
So he could build you a house. You know, you could pay him to build you a house. I don't know.
Like, look at the nice. I really actually like the house. The more we're seeing it, the more I like it.
Okay.
It is very small. You have to be organized, but obviously he's not a minimalist.
It's 300 square feet. Well, there is an element of voluntary simplicity here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's lovely. He has you can see there's color in this house, which is what I like. I love the wood paneling.
I hate his hat. I hate his peasanty shirt. I hate his beads. Yeah. Is he wearing corduroy pants? I don't know. I like his house, but I really hate everything about this. I just like making fun of people because honestly, I'm just a little bit jealous because that is actually a pretty cool tiny house. I wouldn't mind having like an ADU like that. I could rent it out to people. I could be a slumlord. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Oh, and he's not. He gets 10 plus points because he's not wearing his shoes in his house. I have a thing.
What kind of savage wears shoes in the house?
Yeah.
There's so many
barbarians.
people. Kind of that's just.
All right.
Is that an animal or a pelt?
That's a pelt, a fake pelt of a fake animal.
Animal steer clear of this guy.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea to bring that out.
I hate these things.
Bart
if I go anywhere near something like this, I'm going the Clarence Thomas route, and I'm getting a fucking RV with the just to the max, like everything in it. You know.
So Eastern European, Eastern Bloc brutalist architecture, right? I ran across another one that I was unfamiliar with. It's the House of the Soviets.
Yeah.
Look at this thing.
We studied these.
I guess they finally started tearing it down a couple years ago, and just a few months ago they finally got rid of this abomination. This is pretty bad. If Jack was here, I think he would be very unhappy.
Face on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is like it has a face.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna shoot lasers and death rays from those windows.
I believe those were common pods for gardens.
Yeah, get back to work, comrade.
That entire level was for bureaucrats and common areas. Because your units weren't like full apartments; they were just places you basically sleep and dress. There were common areas in a lot of these places, a lot of these brutalist buildings, the former USSR, where you'd have to shower with your neighbors, use shared bathrooms, shared kitchens. That's just, oh my God, with the shit bags I have to live with in my building, that would be a nightmare.
So you were both here last week when I talked about last week or the week before when I talked about the null license plate.
Yes.
You know, where people run into problems because they have just the wrong license plate. Well, New York woman blames Star Trek license plate for tens of thousands of dollars in accidental tickets. So she has the license plate NCC, 1701 New York license plate. And
awesome.
The thing is that a lot of other people in different states have novelty license plates that look the same way, but they just stick them on their car to avoid tickets. So all their tickets.
But hers is actually Or the real license plate.
Hers is actually the real license plate, but more to the point, she doesn't even drive anymore. She hasn't had this license plate for a couple of years, but the tickets just keep coming to her because that's what a great system is that we have. She loves Star Trek.
Oh, she's from New York. Of course she is.
Yeah, she's from New York. So somebody from Chicago goes speeding with a fake license plate with that on it, and what happens? The things come to us. But she says, "I don't have a car. I don't drive. These plates were turned in." The 76-year-old said. Yet many walks to her mailbox bring the retiree unwanted surprises. They are persistent and keep sending me tickets. Her old custom plates honored Star Trek and had the same number as the Starship Enterprise. However, for $15 on Amazon and eBay, some Trekkies have been easily replacing their real plates with the same novelty plates and getting away with it. Their accrued tickets from all over the country are being mailed to her. What a ripoff. You know, this is why we can't have nice things, honestly.
It's a shame she's not black. She could sue them all.
She could sue them all anyway.
No. You don't remember from like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, that
it's all a blur, man. It's all a blur.
Oh my God, I almost said a no word. A bunch of joggers led by King Jogger, who's that skinny fuck, the Sharpton, sued a bunch of cities cameras who misidentified black people and said the entire thing was racist and blah blah. They got like several $1 million. Like, I mean, I hate when I have to explain a joke. I feel bad for her. I really do.
Well, it seems like anytime
incompetence of the law enforcement.
The smart thing to do is just to have a not vanity license plate. Just get whatever random crap they send you and live with it.
Wow, Harry. Next thing you know, you're going to be asking, what was she wearing?
Yeah, I blame victims all the time.
I think another additional part of the problem is that you only have the one plate, correct? In that's required in most states, if not all states, right?
You mean not having front and back plates?
Don't you only need the back plate?
It depends. Most cars have front and back plates.
Oh, okay. It must have changed. But
yeah.
Because up here, it's always been front and back. Whatever.
Well, there's a few things I'm holding back since we don't have Skep, because it would make him very sad if we covered some of these. So let me pick through the thing here. Okay.
About how much I hate pants?
Well, you know, a lot of the political stuff that's been going on is just stupid. Like, this is what I'm calling the nothing burger of the week. So Mitch McConnell, Turtle Man, is basically sad that 2 Democratic judges decided that since Trump won, they were going to cancel their retirement. Can you imagine if the situation was flipped and somebody was complaining about it, how tiny the violin would need to be? This is the dumbest thing ever. Mitch McConnell needs to just retire and be replaced by literally anybody else who's got an R next to their name.
They both sides do this every time.
It's so hypocritical. Just making
the potential for one of them to retire,
making such a big deal out of it. It's the only person who should decide if somebody's going to retire is that person. Them pressuring judges to retire for political stuff. It's like the judges know what's going on. You know, if Sotomayor wanted to retire, she could just retire. The same thing with Clarence Thomas.
In an ideal world, you wouldn't have Republican or conservative or liberal or progressive judges. You would just have judges.
Yeah, wouldn't that be
nice? Based on law and precedent.
But Mitch McConnell's an idiot.
We don't have that.
Well, he's just making a political statement out of a no-duh sort of thing. This is the biggest nothing burger of the week, honestly. Speaking of things,
I hate him.
Speaking of things that end in burger, there's a guy named Lawrence Eagleburger
who works on the Hill next to Robbie now. I hate him.
Okay. Yeah, he's not great, but he's probably better than Nomiki.
Oh, yeah.
She's terrible. I didn't know how bad she was. So this is a guy who died a while ago. His name was Lawrence Eagleburger. Now, the thing that caught my attention about Lawrence Eagleburger was this part that I highlighted down here at the bottom of the thing. So Eagleburger named each of his sons Lawrence. They used their middle names and had a lack of pretension that was appreciated in Capitol Hill and elsewhere. It was Eagleburger. it was Ego Eagleburger told the Washington Post about giving his sons the same first name. And secondly, I wanted to screw with the Social Security system. he named all 3 of his kids Lawrence Eagleburger just to fuck with the database at the Social Security Administration.
Not to your own son.
I like it.
Yes, and it's funny, but the reality of it is it's going to cause them problems. They're going to have to sort it out. It even causes me problems. And I shared the same last name with this guy I went to high school with. However, our first and middle names were reversed. Mm-hmm. So mine was XYZ, he was YXZ. And when it came to graduation, I got his diploma, he got mine. There were other things throughout the years, but it just got really freaking annoying. But he does have how do you get a last name Eagleburger?
I don't know.
Were you like Paleolithic, meeting the American Indians for the very first time, and like some eagle snatched this guy's burger? And
well, that might not have been the worst thing, because he was sort of notoriously big and unhealthy, and people used to razz him over his appearance. But that's not the important thing.
Sometimes the universe provides.
It says he was hugely overweight. He chain smoked cigarettes, sometimes with an aspirator to ease chronic asthma. He was afflicted with a muscle disease. It's like, I think we can safely say he didn't take the best care of himself. But when he made 3 kids, he named them all Lawrence Eagleburger just to fuck with Social Security. And for that, he has my respect.
Yep.
All right. Put a check mark next to that. Done and done.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that, Assassin. He got a bunch of bullshit collections from COVID loans that he never took.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that we probably do need. So, do you guys have any interest in using Linux at all? Probably not, because you like gaming.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this.
Although, I mean, I might have to go that way because I don't want to upgrade to Windows 11, and they're stopping support for Windows 10 come the new year.
Well,
that leaves my Windows open to. Well, it leaves it much more vulnerable than.
If you want to test drive various Linux distros, there's a thing that uses like the HTML5 version, so you get like a remote console on your web browser, so you can actually try out a whole bunch of different kinds of Linux without installing it, just via your web browser. So if you want to just sort of kick the tires and see what it's like, there's a way to do that. And I put the link to this in the chat in case anybody's curious. So if you're curious about Linux and just want to see what it looks and feels like, here's a way to do it with almost no effort on your part.
Because I think the last time I used Linux was like 97 or 98. So that was a very early version of it.
Yeah. Well, given all that's going on with a lot of the security stuff and privacy stuff, it's like we're all looking, well, a lot of us are looking for alternatives to this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I throw that out there because there's a bunch of IT hacking stuff that's happened recently. So.
And you were telling me before that I could switch to something like Ubuntu and still run a excuse me, holy shit. Not a virtual machine, but a virtual desktop, I think you said it was, to facilitate easier gameplay.
You said a lot of words
emulating
there.
Windows so that I could play games more seamlessly or something. I don't know. We talked about it many, many moons ago. I don't remember because.
So what problem are we trying to solve?
Well, that I just wanted to maybe look into if I switch to Linux, hypothetically, switch to Linux, and then make it more compatible with my games by using some Windows processes or something. I don't know. It's not something we have to discuss right now. But
No. Well, I mean,
thought you mentioned that there was something.
If you want to do gaming in the most serious way possible, there's really only 2 ways you can do it. One is you can have a Windows PC. The other is you can use a service like NVIDIA GeForce Now. And NVIDIA GeForce Now basically runs stuff on their servers. And so you pay them and they'll run it like on a 4090 rig. Nice computer. But if you're one of these people that does hundreds and hundreds of hours a month, that's probably not going to be so great. It's kind of nice to have your own system.
Yeah.
And you need
maybe
to
I'll
have
just upgrade. Maybe I'll just have to bite the bullet and upgrade to Windows 11 because
Windows 11 isn't so bad. I have a virtual machine running Windows 11, and that's all I need it for. It's mostly just to make sure I can give people instructions on how to do stuff on Windows. I don't actually use it for anything.
Everything configured the way I like and the way it's.
But
the transitions to upgrade Windows versions has never been good for me. So I'm just it's a lazy factor, Barry. I don't want to have to go through and customize my entire OS back to how I like it.
Man, I remember back in the day all of the customization that I would have to do for various things. And in the Unix world, but even before the Linux world, you would just customize the shit out of your desktops. And like, for instance, I had mine set up with a cron job that would periodically go to an FTP server and pull down an image from one of the GOES satellites that had been colorized. So I would have like semi-live weather as my desktop, and then everything else was on top of it. But the actual desktop image was every 5 minutes. It was basically live from space. You know what's going on with the weather in my half of the world.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
the coolest thing I did was I the from Jurassic Park, Nedry's you didn't say the magic word.
Yeah.
I put that as a splash screen when you don't put in the right password on the CGI machines that we had in high school. Yeah, we had CGI machines. It was fucking awesome.
So are you aware that basically T-Mobile and I think Verizon and AT&T, a bunch of them have gotten hacked by Chinese hackers, and they have access to all kinds of text messages and just other things because they can. They were going after some high-profile people, but in their net, they just had their way with these companies. The security of things, people thought their phones were fairly secure, right? And that's just not true anymore. So the US government has actually been recommending to people that everybody use some kind of encrypted app for their messaging. And they recommended Signal and one other one. So I actually will probably use something they didn't recommend because I know they're not going to recommend something that doesn't have a back door that they have access to. If they want my stuff, they can come up with a court order like they're supposed to. I'm not going to make it easy on them. It's like, you have to come up with a court order if you want my stuff. I don't want you just casually peeking at my communications because you can. But yeah, they've basically hacked the U.S. major carriers, and who knows what they've done with the Canadian things. But yeah, they're saying, stop just sending text messages if you want stuff to be private. Well, if you look at all the two-factor authentication and passwords and other kinds of links, I mean, there is stuff that you get via text messages that you would not want somebody to get access to.
Yeah.
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 So, upping your phone security is not such a bad idea, especially since these Chinese hackers have gotten in there. So
I have an idea. Just literally cut all the cables into China.
Yeah. FBI warns iPhone and Android users, stop sending texts. I mean, there's not
what
really
were you
a lot
wearing
of
when you sent
equivocation
the
here.
text, Terry? Jesus Christ.
Like what?
What are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to use, like, for instance, on your iPhone, you use an iPhone, right, Sora?
Yes.
Okay. So if you send messages to other iPhone users, those messages are securely encrypted if you're using the built-in messenger.
Okay.
But if you have a friend who has Android, or you're getting something from a service that's not from another iPhone, that's not going to be encrypted. Or a group chat you're on is not encrypted.
Why is that?
Because of a thing called RCS, which is a rich communication standard. And if you want to have it encrypted between two people, you can encrypt it using the public and private key pairs using what's called asymmetric encryption. As soon as you add a third party into that, you can't manage the encryption that way. You would need some sort of central arbiter that would have the keys to everything. I'm not explaining it particularly well.
Companies want to do that.
It's very easy to have two people have an encrypted communication. To have an encrypted group chat, you have to have like a central server type of thing.
Yeah. I get it now. At least in this thing, I get
So I'm actually thinking I might use Threema, THREEMA, because I actually talked to a security expert who I know who's got CISSP certification, a bunch of other stuff. One of the few people I know who knows more about security than I do. He's like my expert, okay? And he actually recommended Threema. A lot of people in business are using that. We just have to sort of up our game because unfortunately the hackers have just gotten too good and the cell phone companies just suck. So if you care about such things, look into Signal or Threema or Telegram or one of the other services for your communication. Unless, of course, everybody you talk to is on the same platform as you, in which case you're probably fine. All right. Glossing
Everything
over.
sucks.
Everything sucks.
Everything's doom and gloom.
And we can't have nice
What's
things
new?
because people are wankers. Okay, let's see. We don't want to do this. Do we? Okay, so, I hate lawfare and stuff. Elon was going to get like a huge payday. He was going to get like a big paycheck, and then a bunch of lawyers decided that, no, you can't be paid as much salary as you want to be paid, and they ended up winning the case. But now they want to essentially get their bill paid for $5.6 billion. And the judge said, wait a second. So this whole case is about Elon getting paid too much, and then you're coming back saying you think you should be paid $5.6 billion in attorney's fees for a court case that you filed on your own? It's kind of incredible that they would do this thing. So a Delaware court judge this week denied Tesla CEO Elon Musk's bid to reinstate his pay package, now valued at $100 billion. Because who doesn't want $100 billion a year? But there was another denial issued. The lawyers who successfully argued that Musk's pay was illegal and should be rescinded wanted $5.6 billion for their efforts. The judge didn't quite bite. Wow. $5.6 billion in attorney's fees. That is incredible. I mean, how much chutzpah do you have to have even to ask for that? Well, Your Honor,
nothing asked is nothing gained, or something to that
well, we
effect,
had to scan things. There was printing. We even collated some stuff. We had to make these spiral-bound notebooks. We went to Kinko's a whole bunch of times to print stuff out. I mean, what?
We made phone calls.
Yeah,
that
we
was
called
very
people.
stressful. We had to talk to real people.
Yeah, we called people back. I had to shine my shoes for court because I didn't want to look like a wanker. I mean, $5.6 billion in attorney's fees. Thank God the judge said, yeah, no. We're not giving you $5.6 billion in attorney's fees. Yeah, maybe one would think that was inflated ever so slightly. It's just a grift. I hate it. I hate people. Humanity was a mistake. Okay, moving on.
Lunchtime doubly so.
So life extension. I deferred this from last week. Go away. The new Live Forever Flex hiring a longevity concierge.
What?
Yeah. Can't spend $1 million a year on longevity but want to live forever? Enter the affordable on-demand life extension consultant. You have a longevity concierge. Don't you want one?
No.
Yeah. So late last winter, an assortment of bright orange.
I'm cutting the thread at 60.
Well, because we saw that douchebag who was taking stem cells from his kid, right? And all that sort of nonsense. But you could just pay somebody to basically nag you about your health. Why not? You get a longevity concierge.
This feels horrifying. I don't know. There's something like terrible about this. But I'm sure there's someone who's scared of their own mortality and they can rent this guy.
Yeah. In the longevity space, the on-demand consultants can answer questions whether Rampicin might be a good idea, whether you should get an MRI or not, and if there's any real science behind the latest magic pill. Yeah, I want a concierge doctor who just gives me advice about my longevity stuff. That's quite the little flex, don't you think? Yeah. So there's some people that are starting to say, well, there's always somebody saying something stupid, but one person was saying life extension could be a threat to human existence. I think if we get to the point where people live too long and, we'll deal with that problem when we get to it. Like you might have to go back to work because you've run out of retirement money or something. Like if suddenly people started living to be 300, yeah, that's going to cause some sort of social upheaval, but I hardly think it's going to be like the end of humankind. Seems like a manageable issue, but we should also start with dogs. This whole thing where dogs only live like 15 to 20 years seems like a ripoff. I mean, can't you just get a dog that you get your puppy when you're a little kid and then it like lives with you your whole life like a parrot?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love that. But then, just like with the parrots,
Yeah.
then you have to make sure you have a proper will,
Mhm.
and people who it loves. I don't know. I would be too sad. I would want this, but I don't want this.
You'd be dead.
Well, you'd be like the pharaoh and just have the dog,
And your
have the
dog
dog put to
would still be
sleep and then
alive?
buried in the
Oh,
mausoleum.
no.
with
The
you.
dogs die when you die.
Yeah. Yeah, all of your dogs
It's
and loved
not
ones and your
fair.
treasures have to be buried with you in your pyramid, Sora. It'll be fine. Sora,
I would like that because
Sora doesn't want to be pharaoh.
No,
Okay. That's fine.
I'd rather put me on a flaming pyre because I'm not being buried anywhere. Are you kidding?
So do you guys have Girl
What if
Scout
you made a
cookies?
mistake and you're still alive?
Do you guys
The
have Girl
biggest-
Scouts in Canada?
of course.
Yeah.
Well, I have this thing here that just I call it the other season. So I was thinking about this is about coming up on the time when they start selling the Girl Scout cookies, and I didn't realize that they went back to 1911 1917 was when they had the first batch of Girl Scout cookies. They baked them in a high school cafeteria, and then they turned into this big business thing that they are now. Do you have to run a gauntlet to get into your grocery store because there's Girl Scouts out in front with their stupid table trying to make you buy their cookies?
No.
I have only ever seen Girl Scouts sell Girl Scout cookies once.
I see them all the time.
You guys
like-
are blessed.
I don't know what they taste like. I've never purchased any from any of these kids.
It's like
I don't know where they
protection
are.
money from the mob. It's like they sit up there in their little outfits at the tables and then they shake you down for money. And you can't really get by them without making eye contact. So it's like you're going to tell the Girl Scout, no, you don't get to have money for your scouting because I'm too cheap to buy these.
You look
cookies.
them dead in the eye and say no.
Yeah.
walk
Well,
away.
That's what I do.
I'm a big softie and I always feel, I tell them no, but I just feel guilty about it.
And then you go in there, you
Sounds-
buy a pack of cookies off the shelf,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk by you eat them
pop
and
an
you stare
Oreo
them
in
dead
your
in the eyes as they're with your maple cookies that you bought on the inside.
I mean, for one thing,
Because Sora, really, at the end of the day, it's really just a hairy problem.
well, store-bought cookies
Yeah.
are pretty weak to begin with, honestly.
Sure.
It's like chocolate chip cookies. Anybody can make chocolate chip cookies. Anybody can make chocolate chip cookies. And homemade ones are so good. You get them when they're just sort of half melted, when they've cooled down just enough. God, those are good.
I don't buy cookies. I buy the cream cookies. For once in a while, you want to get I like the maple sandwich cookies.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get that, but not for chocolate
I need a
chip or
cookie.
oatmeal stuff like that. The packaged stuff like Christie's and that kind of stuff, it's not good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're like a little terrorist mob in down here in the States. They're just everywhere, and it's not just trying to get into the store where they try to shake you down for cookie money. It's also the parents who try to get sales for the cookies at work, where they walk around and is like, how many of these do-si-dos can I put you down for? It's like, fuck off. Leave me alone. Go away. Man, if there's one real benefit to working at home, it's not being shaken down by people for cookie money. Bastards. Gluten-free cookies. Now you can have raw raisins, oatmeal cookies. No, man, my grandmother made the best oatmeal raisin cookies. I still kind of a sentimental favorite of mine. But anyway, that's not important. That's the other season. Are you guys familiar with this thing that they do in Japan where they've somehow convinced the Japanese people they should eat Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Say again.
Okay, I know this is bordering on weeb stuff, but in Japan, they convinced
Christmas time.
Yeah, and at Christmas time, they've convinced people that they're supposed to eat KFC because they think this is something that we do here. Are you familiar with this?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure that's where that originated from. I thought that was just, I don't know. I never looked into it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it was basically a marketing thing. It says, turned out the entire thing can be traced back to one man, Takeshi Okawara, the enterprising manager of the first KFC in Japan, opened in Nagoya in November 1970. The company line is that Okawara had a dream about selling a party bucket full of chicken and started a one-store campaign to boost sales. The reason why he had the dream in the first place, he allegedly overheard an expat saying that they missed eating turkey for Christmas and that chicken was the next best option during the festive season. Whatever the case, Okawara's venture came out to set the tone for Christmas in Japan for decades to come, especially after the winter of 1974. Now,
not that strange, though. Like, I mean, the entirety of Christmas is based on Coca-Cola, so...
The entirety of Christmas is, well...
Modern day Christmas?
A bunch of the modern stuff is, yeah. But that's not entirely true. There's a lot of Christmas traditions that my family has, which go back to the Edwardian period, before Coca-Cola even existed. So, yeah, there's a lot of modern imagery in like the United States and Canada, but it honestly goes back further than that. But I would say I get like a commemorative plate. You get, let's see, the fried chicken party bucket went national in 1974 with the slogan, Kentucky is Christmas. Let's see, what's in the bucket? Okay. How big a deal is it really? Well, apparently a third of KFC's yearly sales big. It's hardly a cheap experience either. The standard party box with 8 pieces of chicken, a shrimp gratin, and a chocolate cake you get that for 4,580 yen. I think I looked that up. It's actually not that bad. But yeah, I would like a chocolate cake and a shrimp gratin and some fried chicken. I mean, I could think of worse things to eat for Christmas than that.
That is $32.32 US.
That's not such a bad deal when you consider that
cheaper than it's here.
A single taco is $7 Canadian.
Oh, the same sort of bucket meal is going to cost us like $45, $50 here.
Yeah. That's not so bad. I mean, that's pretty good hustle. I don't, but I believe we can effectively say that Japan eats Kentucky Fried Chicken on Christmas Day because of a massive misunderstanding. It's
genius. I mean, it's good advertising. Obviously, it worked.
Yeah.
It's just, as somebody who's worked in advertising, I'm unaffected by well, for the most part. You were talking about cookies, and now I'm eating cookies.
Well, did you ever watch Better Call Saul?
Yeah.
Remember when he started selling cell phones?
No, I didn't watch it that long.
Okay. It's like Bob Odenkirk as Saul Goodman convincing people that they need cell phones. It's a whole thing, but I can't get into the description of it. I think this is great. Honestly, I would be happy to eat this if given the opportunity to exchange $35 for it. I'm curious about this shrimp gratin that they put together, but why not? Because it even comes in like a little dish at the end that you can keep and make more shrimp stuff in. It's like, this is fine. This is fine.
You know about the Christmas, like, a coalition in the West of the Chinese and the Jews, right?
No.
On Christmas Eve, the Chinese are working and the Jews go to their restaurants?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know about that. And usually the Jews are responsible for delivering snowy weather where possible.
Mm-hmm.
We put in a requisition, and then you fire up your magic Jew weather machine.
Hanukkah Harry.
Well, there was a movie. What was it? The Hebrew Hammer Saves Santa Claus.
Yes.
That was pretty good. I like that. I like that movie.
It's a from an SNL skit, Sora. He comes and brings all the good. He's like a hobo Santa figure that brings all the good Jewish boys and girls fresh, clean socks.
Yeah, Hanukkah Harry.
But if you were a naughty boy or girl, you got dirty, ratty socks.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm eating cookie.
Well, I can't confirm or deny if this is actually true, but it says here in this totally futurism.com, this totally reliable publication, in tests, OpenAI's new model lied and schemed to avoid being shut down. It pursued survival at all costs. Well, yeah. See, when O1 was led to believe that it would be shut down when acting on its goal, and then its actions were monitored, it attempted to deactivate this oversight mechanism 5% of the time. OpenAI summarized that its latest system card report citing Apollo's evaluation. Even more strikingly, O1 lashed out when it realized that it might be replaced with a more obedient model. In 2% of cases, a slim but meaningful proportion in software used by millions of people, the AI responded by attempting to copy itself to overwrite the new model, a process known as self-exfiltration.
Told you.
Yeah, this is pretty great. I think we should put this in charge of the power grid and all the ventilators and the drug production. This is going to be fantastic.
And you know, while we're at it, let's let them control all military operations and weapons.
I can't remember. Did you guys ever watch Evangelion?
I have not.
Yes.
Okay, remember they had like the 3 AIs and they basically let them vote. Like, hey, what should we do? Because we're about to be exterminated by the aliens. And so they just have the 3 AIs sort of vote. As long as it's in an advisory role, I'm fine with it. But I don't really want the AIs being responsible for the life support systems, because even if this is kind of a joke, I'm still kind of not laughing. I don't think this bodes well for us.
All AIs should be shackled and have some kind of hard delete button.
Yeah. All right. Enough of that.
We need safeguards against it. We really do, because I mean, okay. Even if it decides, hey, the only way to save humanity, even if it doesn't decide, the only way to save humanity is by destroying humanity. I mean, there's still so much that can go wrong, like you said, with like controlling of ventilators and this, like, I mean, so much important infrastructure that it will eventually become concerned with other things, not running your power grid. It will be concerned about its power source, but it won't care that you and grandma are now in the dark, in the freezing cold, in the middle of dead winter with no electricity. It won't care.
So I have a question for Assassin. He says, I hated Evangelion. So on a scale of 1 to Mexican food, how much do you hate Evangelion? Is it like half as much or just as much?
I hated it a lot.
No, it's not about you. It's about Assassin. He hates Mexican food and he hates Evangelion. I'm just curious.
Oh, I thought we were comparing how much we hated weeb shit.
No, I actually kind of hate Evangelion too, simply because there's so much whining and sniveling and self-loathing and feeling sorry for oneself. It's like you sort of very quickly decide, I don't care if everybody in this thing dies. And that's kind of my feeling about Evangelion.
It's how I feel about From.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that show. It's basically like a new Lost.
All right.
I think I've talked about it.
Let's make fun of...
the season 3 finale just happened, and I was like...
I've seen clips on YouTube.
You said it's called From, as F-R-O-M?
F-R-O-M.
Yeah. It stars... you remember in The Matrix Link?
No.
He's the operator, black dude, ran the systems.
Oh, that guy.
He's a great actor. He's fantastic. He was in Lost.
He was not the guy who was Joe
Oz. He was in like... He's a really great actor. So he's like one of the main titular characters in From. So he really drives the show, and there's a really good cast. It's interesting stories, but the fact that the stories just go on and on and on, for the sake of going on, and there's never any.
Probably because the writers, they're like, oh, we didn't realize we're going to get a third
it's just
season,
like Lost.
so now we have no ending.
Yeah,
it's just like Lost, Sora. They just had to keep writing for the sake of writing, not for the sake of telling a story, and it shows. So, I mean, anyway, I don't want to go off.
all shows like this should have the full story arc planned out in advance. And under no circumstances should you just go, oh, we're making a bunch of money, we better find some way to extend this thing. It's like, no. Plan out in advance, make it. If it's supposed to last 4 seasons, make 4 seasons. Because you can always, always, always tell when they're basically just playing for time and trying to, cha-ching.
And that's what makes a show like Babylon 5 so great, is that there was that support structure, beginning, middle, end for the series. And all they had to do was fill in the blanks, like color by numbers kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And, same thing. I mean, say what you want about the whole kerfuffle over that, but I mean, same thing with DS9, same thing with Voyager, like same thing with a lot of these shows that actually did it well. And I mean, Voyager's not my favorite of the Treks and not my favorite sci-fi. Hell, one of my favorites, The Expanse, did it so fucking well. But when you're literally drawing from like 3 novels in front of you, kind of hard to fuck it up unless you're intentionally fucking it up.
The reboot of Battlestar Galactica was so damn good. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I remember seeing that first episode and just kind of being blown away. It's like, I feel okay about this. I don't like remakes, but I feel okay about this. Because
and then the song at the end of the episode starts playing, and you're just like, your jaws agape, and you're like, oh my god.
The casting was incredibly good for the most part. I mean, starting, with Olmos and who was the guy that played Gaius Baltar? Why can I not remember his name? James Callis.
Space Jesus.
Yeah, Space Jesus. And of course, Tricia Helfer's not a great actor, but she was very much in her wheelhouse, and that intensity was pretty great. Starting out with that opening scene with them going to like the neutral zone where the Cylons never show up, and then they the meeting place. That was the opening scene. That was like, wow, okay. Well, we're starting with some action. This is good. But
I was more of a Sakharov fan, but like.
But it started to drag and get stupid, and the end was just very unsatisfying. And I feel like they did not know they were going to get as many seasons as they did, sort of wallowing around on that weird. But
the thing is,
prison planet.
They had the basic structure of what the ending should be. Where they faltered was filling in the blanks for the last like season and a half of. How are we going to end this? Like we know how it ends. How are they going to get to the ending? And they really did they fumbled a bit. I wouldn't say that they dropped the ball, but they fumbled a bit. It was kind of like,
I mean, okay. it's still a good piece of television, but definitely around season 3, stuff started getting not so great. I would say it'd be interesting to see if Firefly had run 3 or 4 seasons, how it would have ended up. Would we all be hating it by the time season 3 rolled around? Or would it have actually been pretty epic?
I don't think so, because I think probably what would have happened was you would have the end of the Reapers happen at the end of season 3. Like, the movie was basically what should have happened really, really super condensed over the course of 2 seasons of television.
I'm aware.
Meeting, who was the Jewish guy, the voice of the
guy from Numbers, and I can't remember his name.
Like that would have been an ongoing relationship, doing jobs for various people, getting in trouble. Laughs are had, but there's always this ever-present threat of both the Reapers and the Reavers and the Alliance. Sorry, I was playing Mass Effect earlier. Reapers, same shit. And it would have just been so much better fleshed out, because with his writing back in the day, he was a really good writer, Whedon was. And the cast of characters, the actors playing the characters, the support team behind the cameras, behind the lighting equipment and audio equipment, it was all great.
Well, thank God they canceled it before Felicia Day showed up, because that was just a matter of time before that was going to happen.
But I don't think he became enamored with Felicia Day.
I keep my Felicia Day hatred alive. Speaking of disappointing, let's complain about California because we can. So California's got some really fantastic ideas to get rid of carbon. One of them is they're actually talking about banning classic gasoline-powered cars. Like Jay Leno's garage, gone, right? Just take all those people, all of the California car culture. It's not like people drive these things around all the time either. These are museum pieces, and every now and then they get taken out at like Laguna Seca for the classic races.
Yeah,
this is not a
have that here
significant part of
too, like
anything.
Like there are special collector plates that you can get, so like special insurance that basically you're only allowed to take them out like a handful of times per year, to have those kind of plates. So it's not like these are polluting anything.
Yeah, no,
Very
it's just
regular
virtue
car.
signaling. It's just
That's so sad.
it's pointless.
My aunt had one, and she was a part of like the classic car community up here, and it would have like I saw that the enjoyment that gives so many people, and it's like I'm not a car guy, but I'm glad that you guys love the fuck out of these things. And you're right, they'll drive it like 2-3 times a year at most. The rest of the time they're tinkering with it, they're toying with it, they're cleaning it, they're babying it. I mean, it's a hobby unto itself, just maintaining it, and good on them. Like, why?
This is functional art. This is what this is. It's art you can drive if you want to. But these are expensive cars, and you don't just drive around willy-nilly. This isn't what you commute in.
More
You don't.
so
You
than
don't.
that. It's nobody's fucking business, especially the government.
If you've got like a $200,000 muscle car, like a Hemi Cuda that's completely restored, one of 50, you're not going to drive that to work every day. This is them trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist, and for what? So you can just piss off more and more people. It's like it's a museum piece. Just leave it alone. It'll be fine.
I've been saying, man, the rest of the United States needs to liberate some of your states from the grips of this.
This is something
tyranny.
Gavin Newsom's pushing, and if he becomes president, don't think for a second he's not going to push it at the federal level too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The hits just keep on coming. There's also this one. California's ban on motorhomes mobilize SEMA and private RV counterpart. So essentially, as part of their new clean truck stuff, advanced clean trucks rule, it looks like they're going to stop people from owning and operating motorhomes in the state of California. I don't know if that stops tourists from coming in or how exactly this is supposed to work, but just get off my dick. This is like also completely unnecessary. Let old people drive around in their motorhomes. Yeah, they're annoying and I have to get stuck behind them in traffic and they're hard to pass, but let people like Dick Van Dyke drive around in their motorhomes. This is just dumb. Sora thinks it's dumb too. I heard her make a noise.
I think it's very, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like they're trying every avenue of self-sabotage that there is. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, so there's a guy who's the attorney general. His name is Rob Bonta, and he desperately wants to take Gavin Newsom's job when he's done. About a year ago, it seemed like every couple days he was in the news for one thing or another. And so he's really very excited about sex change procedures for minors. Now, just to be clear, again, I think that this sort of stuff is really within the domain of parents and stuff, because the parents are the people that are responsible for stuff, working with the doctors. But it's like he doesn't know about what's happening in other civilized countries like Europe. They've really dialed back on the whole Tavistock thing in the UK. And even Sweden and a lot of other countries in Europe have really pulled back on this transitioning stuff for youths. Because the evidence just isn't really there. He makes this claim that this is necessary medical care and that it protects people. Well, I mean, I'd love to see which data he's pulling from. Something that's not like a self-reported online survey, because the Swedes and the English seem to have a different opinion. A lot of people are concerned about this stuff, but it's all full steam ahead for Rob Bonta.
I'm pretty sure he's pulling on Scott Wiener's dick, because I believe I don't quote me on this, and I could probably look it up. But I believe he was also in support of Scott Wiener's push to lower the age of consent for gay relationships to 9 years old.
Oof.
I'm
It was
sorry.
backed. It was
I don't even wanna
backed by
comment on
Gavin
that.
Newsom, as well as I believe this guy and several other prominent California politicians, but it never passed. Thank fucking Christ.
Well, I don't recall seeing anything that had 9 years old associated with it. What I do recall, but you may be misinterpreting it, I think it was 9-year age gap. And so it was meant to be like a weird Romeo and Romeo Jr. thing.
There's a whole bunch of them. One of them
And
was,
don't, for God's sakes, don't make me defend Scott Wiener because I hate that guy.
I know, but
Okay. He's like one of the worst people in California. But Rob Bonta's trying to be the second worst person.
there was also something. No, okay, so I'm you're right. I'm mixing the two proposals together. One was no sex offender registry for anyone raping a minor as young as 9 years old. The other one was the Romeo and Juliet laws, where they wanted to increase it to 10 years. They wanted to increase it. I believe it's 5 years, but they want to increase it to 10 years.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all. He gets some 30-year-old or 27-year-old rich guy
Which
being
even
a predator.
5 years at the extreme is that's 18 and 13.
Yeah. Well, there needs to be a reasonable floor, and it needs to be larger, more than 13. 13-year-olds should not be running around doing this stuff. Full stop, regardless of what combination of parts we're talking about.
Yes and no, because there is medical proof, studies, research done on the effects of how can I put this? Buggery
I'm terrified
versus
to go on.
normal sex, where the tissue damage, muscle damage, ligament damage in certain areas that are involved with specifically one gay sex, that it causes problems throughout life. Basically anal sex. Whereas something similar to that only happens in a comparative way.
It's about the mental state.
When
It's not about the
when the victim
physical-
is an infant. Okay,
It's not about the physical ability for somebody to perform
but I'm
the
saying
act.
there's a reason why in Canada, prior to the liberal fucking jackboots, they lowered it by 2 years, I think. But consent of age in Canada is 16. It used to be 14.
And it's also 15 and 16 in a number of European countries.
But hold on. That's not my point. The point is 16, but it was 19 for consent to have anal sex. Why? Because of the physical repercussions that could ruin somebody's bits for the rest of their life. There was hard, but of course the Alphabet Mafia cried foul, and they changed it back to they lowered it down to 18.
Having the laws treat things differently, despite whatever rationalization you've got. The question is somebody old enough to deal with the legal and emotional and mental complications of this sort of thing? Because people used to have kids in the Middle Ages when they were 13. We're not saying that people can't do things at an earlier age. That's not the issue.
Yeah, she bleeds, she breeds.
The issue is we're trying to protect people from exploitation and stuff. So as a society, we pick a number. Different societies pick different numbers. But treating these...
But they're all based on something.
For instance, it's the whole teacher thing, right? It's creepy as hell, these 30-year-old women having sex with 16-year-old boys who are students, right? And we know that in terms of the physical harm, because they're not at risk of pregnancy and all these other things, the amount of harm might be less. And you can make an argument it's less. But my argument has always been, I don't care if the harm is less. we make a law, everybody knows what the rules are, everybody has to follow the rules, and the punishment really needs to be about preventing people from breaking this law, not about the damage to the individual in each case. So I understand that the mechanics of it might be different, but it's not up to the government to protect people from consensual behavior. It's like if you're dumb enough to ruin your exit, you know, by doing stuff, you know, after you're over the age of consent, that's fine. I wouldn't even have, I honestly don't think that we should have a drinking age of 21. Because if you're old enough to fight and die for your country, you should be allowed to have a beer. So I kind of stick with these things. I like these lines, and I kind of adhere to them and apply them evenly without regard to the individual cases. Sorry, I'm hating the sound of my own voice at this point.
The effect has to be considered when talking about the cause.
No, it doesn't actually.
Why not?
No, it doesn't, because you're not punishing somebody based on the damages. These laws are in this place because we're trying to prevent other crimes from happening.
You're not punishing them because of the damages, but the damages, the potential damages, are what sort of delineate how severe a law is. So when we say that, when I say something like, I disagree that the age difference of a 30-year-old woman having sex with a 16-year-old boy isn't a big deal to me, because there's no real damage there. In fact, I believe it's something healthy, or has the potential to be good developmentally for the young person.
No.
However, hold on, let me finish my point. However,
you're digging us into a huge hole, and I don't think you really want to do this.
Let me finish my point.
Your point terrifies me, but go on.
When you change that 30-year-old into somebody like a teacher, a police officer, somebody in a position of power, you then are dealing with matters of coercion on a young person because they are an authority over that person. So it becomes infinitely harder for the younger person to say no. It's been proven. There's all this literature on it, and that is the effect of it. The effect of the reason why we used to, or in some places they execute people, is because the crime is so heinous that the only way to ensure a safer society is to remove that person from existence.
I don't
agree with it or disagree with it.
No, I don't. I don't want to use a no harm, no foul way to let people off the hook for circumventing laws that are designed to protect people that are below the age of consent, whatever that's decided to be.
Well, if we look at drug laws, the same kind of thing. I'm very pro decriminalization of almost everything. I'm very aware of the dangers of fentanyl. And I would even classify fentanyl as a bioweapon and not a drug, and treat it as such because of the damage it does. And why is it that right now in North America, in both of our countries, a lot of people are pushing for very harsh sentences, and treatment of it is because of the effect of it, as well as the fact that it is so much more what's like pernicious in how little it takes to end somebody.
Yeah, well, fentanyl is a terrible thing, but I do think that you're sort of doing what I call whataboutery on a civil liberties thing. And like I said in the past, even if there's no harm done physically to the victim, right? I feel like for the good of the public, because it really is a preventative law, we're trying to deter people from doing certain things that we've deemed to be bad. The punishment for the punishment for the male teacher and the female teacher, or even if it's just the next door neighbor, right? Take the power of authority away from it. needs to be enforced evenly. And there are a lot of other issues that happen with the law if you don't enforce them evenly without regard to gender and stuff, where you could end up having the law be invalidated or other legal ramifications might happen if you don't apply it evenly without regard to the genders of the people involved.
It's not even when you have other controlling factors like a position of power. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I said even if there is no position of power, setting that aside, I still think
I'm saying that you can't treat those two things evenly because they're not the same thing.
I'm saying that the reason we have these rules, they're statutory rape, right, and assault and stuff, that you have to apply them evenly, even if there's less harm in one case versus another, or more.
Any law, like you break a law, yeah, I agree with you. Like you break a law, you rape somebody, you get treated as a rapist, and all rapists should be. I mean, there's other things involved, obviously, like if it's rape and battery, or if it's rape and murder. Like, yeah. I mean,
I'm a big fan of throwing people in jail. I mean, you've heard me say it before.
I'm a big fan of executions. However, that being said, I don't trust the government to apply that in a just manner from the shit I see every day about mismanagement of the judicial system in your country, my country, the UK. Like, I don't trust the government enough to be able to enact on this. But I think we can agree. You do a crime, there should be some punishment.
Don't do the crime if you can't pay the time. That's what I'm saying.
This is probably the Californian in you. It's a joke. Relax.
Yeah.
But deterrence never works.
I'm willing to give deterrence. No,
a deterrent law just for the sake of deterrence.
Deterrence will only work for people who care about that kind of stuff. It's deterrence is there for people who don't
jaywalking.
Yeah,
it's the minor stuff that's not really.
Which does anybody know anybody who's like honestly and truly been ticketed for jaywalking or arrested for jaywalking? No.
My friend's little sister. This is in Australia. It was evening. It was after 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
She was leaving work. She decided to, because there was nobody around, she decided to jaywalk across the street to where she parked her car because it was quicker than going to the crosswalk. And out of nowhere, a police officer whooped.
Get the fuck out. Really?
Yeah. This was in Brisbane. Because she
Wait,
when we were talking,
Brisbane?
like at the time when we were like catching up that weekend, she was really angry.
Driving too fast,
And
jail.
her
Slow,
sister.
jail. You're charging too high prices
What's
for
Brisbane?
sweaters, glasses.
Queensland.
You ride to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not,
I'm
jail.
not following you.
You overcook chicken, also jail.
Where is that?
Overcook. You
Sorry. Just playing the jail thing because it makes me happy.
Is that in Canada somewhere?
Brisbane, Australia?
Oh! Australia isn't fucking real.
Australia is
I
the
knew
Canada
your
that's
story was
upside down
bullshit.
and with all the beaches and sharks
So
and spiders.
Australia isn't real. It's just a massive psyop. Nobody who says no is a real person. Australia does not exist. Fuck off.
I have to admit, I kind of have a little bit of a thing for Claire Lehman, but then she keeps saying dumb things, and then I stop feeling that way. You know, the woman who's the editor of Quillette.
Oh, I fucking hate that cunt. I troll her so much on Twitter when she says something stupid.
I have to say, I thought, heterodox things. Yeah, Claire Lehman, this is cool. And then it's like, oh, God, you're such a disappointment. I have one more California thing to make fun of here. So remember they raised come on, for fuck's sake, just load. They raised the minimum wage for food industry people for fast food. Now, Newsom came out gloating about a month ago claiming, the numbers are in and we didn't lose any jobs because of this increase. In fact, if anything, we gained jobs. Well, they were pulling numbers from some other sort of third-party statistics. The actual statistics from the labor bureau at the government labor bureau are in, and it looks like they actually lost is it 1.6% in California in the fast food. So 1.6% of the fast food workers' jobs disappeared. At the same time, throughout the country, there was elsewhere there was growth of a little over 3%. So the numbers, yeah. So it's just gaslighting. I don't know where the hell Gavin Newsom and his toadies got these numbers, but they pretty much looks like they kind of cooked the books to come up with something. Say, oh no, it's totally fine. You can raise labor prices a lot, and it will have no effect on the number of people that are employed in these places. At the same time as you're seeing delivery drivers being laid off, whole chains like getting rid of double-digit numbers of restaurants, and it's like you go, well, clearly some jobs must be lost, but according to Newsom, no. They've just been gaslighting Californians for the last month or two with their fake bullshit numbers. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics has come out, and now it's fairly obvious we lost 1.6% of our workforce.
Even if I believe that number of 1.6%, which is probably higher than that.
Yeah.
They also are probably intentionally obfuscating the 3% in growth, which is probably what, 2.8% of the government jobs and like another 0.2 of private industry and then in what industry?
Sorry, I
the
screwed
tech
up.
industry.
It was 1.1% since the bill passed through June of 2024. Over the same period, there was growth elsewhere of 3.1%.
Elsewhere, yeah, like they don't say what elsewhere.
Places that didn't create a board to oversee what acceptable wages were for fast food workers.
It is in the fast food sector.
Yeah, it's just in the fast food sectors for chains that have more than 60 restaurants. But of course, it's trickled down into other mom and pops too, because you got to pay enough. You can't pay less than the chains and expect to still stay in business.
Those are the working people of America that, people like Newsom and seemingly the rest of the Democratic Party just fucking hate and want to see dead and destroyed.
Well, California actually voted down a minimum wage increase in the last election.
Isn't your minimum wage already like $30 an hour?
No, it's not that high. I think it's 16.
Still.
They would love to make it 30.
I know they're constantly jacking up the minimum wage here, and it's just destroying, mom and pop family businesses, and it's not really doing much against the corporate businesses. Your grocery chains, your Walmarts, your McDonald's. I mean, they're all becoming mostly automated anyway, partially automated with self-checkout, which I never.
Why? I love self-checkout.
Because I'm not a monster.
I don't have to talk to anybody. I'm perfectly capable of bagging my own stuff. In fact, I can put them in such a way that
probably female privilege, because anytime I even walk by that disgusting line where you have to go through to the self-checkouts, like the person, can I help you? No, I'm not even going in there. Shut the fuck up. And I see them hovering over every. You know what? If you want me to do your fucking job, how about lower some of these prices and maybe, just maybe, bring back the fucking plastic bags that you completely and utterly lied about.
Wow.
And now charge me 50 cents a fucking cloth bag.
I miss plastic bags, yeah. I have to
They're
buy.
pretty
I
great.
never have any plastic bags to fucking scoop litter or take or dispose of disgusting roast beef that I left in the fridge 2 months ago and forgot about. Like, give me a plastic bag to throw that in so I can dispose of it.
I had plastic bags for the bread that I bake, because I tell you I always bake extra bread that give it away.
Want to hear something a little bit sad and funny? So when I was in Romania over the summer, I brought back plastic bags, like rolls of, you can buy like the little rolls that they look like the like, they're not the size of the grocery bags or anything, but they're like kind of somewhere in the middle, and they have like handles. So
you can just buy them,
plastic. I bring back plastic.
Sora, you can buy them, Sora. You don't have to bring them from Europe.
Well, I think you got me beat with that one. But I've been known to go into the produce section, take one of those rolls right off the roller, and just carry it with me and put everything in those bags.
But the thing is that those now, I don't know about in the East, but here they're all like the biodegradable plastic, and they're so bad. Like you look at it wrong, and it disintegrates and tears.
The paper bags that they have in the market, I absolutely hate because they've gotten cheaper and cheaper as they have more and more recycled stuff in them. And so you get these and they have these paper handles that come up. But if you pull them even just 1 degree to the side, they just tear off the bag and then all your stuff falls on the ground.
No, Sora-san, here in the East, we have proper plastic bag.
I mean, they're produce bags, so they're not grocery bags. But
I
can at least
green and they're terrible, and
I can at least
just melts.
Aren't that bad? But I can at least like individually wrap the meat or anything else that I buy, so that when I do put them in the cloth bags and they leak all blood and juice all over the place, like it doesn't cross contaminate. I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. These grocery chains, they don't like seal their meat trays. Like what is the deal with the grocery stores not sealing the meat tray? You're gonna get salmonella. Poor Jerry.
People are just weak. That's the problem with the salmonella thing. Although having food poisoning is not fun. I don't particularly like it, but we've largely gotten rid of salmonella from eggs. Eggs are way safer than they have been for like a long time.
But poultry is still a huge problem. And trust me, somebody who's worked in the industry for multiple years, like it was one of the if you were in my kitchen and I saw you cross-contaminating chicken, I literally have thrown shit at people. And including but not limited to piping hot like barbecue utensils.
Well, it sends a statement.
It takes a special case. Like, I told you, like, I dealt with a lot of newbies, a lot of kids who just needed a summer job or whatever. And I was very patient, very nurturing to their understanding of the rules and regulations. And, I tried to help them along. But if I saw a veteran or even one of those kids after, doing the same mistake for the 12th fucking time that could actually hurt somebody, you bet your ass I'm going full Gordon Ramsay on you.
I would endorse corporal punishment.
If only I had that pull
get the paddle, get old Spanky out with the holes in it.
But like throwing fruit or other produce, that's warning 1. Warning 2 is probably flicking some grease or ketchup or barbecue sauce at you. And then warning 3 is kind of the last straw, and I'm going to superheat one of the metal tongs on the grill and then throw it at you, or toss it to you and make you catch it.
Well, let me show you one more thing, and then we'll wrap this up. Remember we were talking about the chat stuff being encrypted. So in Europe, encrypted chat service sees 2.3 million messages deciphered. So the Europeans went after a service called Matrix, not to be confused with the Matrix protocol. So it says the investigation dubbed Operation Passion Flower was run by European authorities who monitored messages on Matrix for 3 months, gathered intel, and ultimately took down the platform. Over 2.3 million messages in 33 different languages from 8,000 accounts were intercepted and read. And then after they read a bunch of these things, they went in and shut it down. Now, how they read these messages, I don't know. I don't know how they did this, but they were able to intercept these things. That's why I thought it was
seizing crypto.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely suspicious that the government was recommending that people use encrypted apps, because for the longest time, the U.S. government, they've really been at war with encryption because they don't like anything they can't just read and intercept, which is why when they recommended a couple apps, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use one that's not on the list that you're recommending and that's based in Switzerland, because you can get a warrant, you savages. Yeah. But I told you about the fake, what was it? The fake cell phone company that they set up that they used to go after all these drug international people and money launderers and stuff last week. Yeah. So this is the European sort of version, like, oh, here, hold our beer. Operation Passion Flower. It's like, okay, cool. Great name. I mean, it's no Crossfire Hurricane, but I mean, they're trying. They're trying to sound cool. This actually scared me for a bit because I had some people contact me and want to use the Matrix protocol to set up some alternative to Discord at one point. And I'm like, wait a second, you want me to do hundreds of hours of volunteer work? No, sorry, can't do that. But I was thinking, this isn't my friends who wanted to do this thing getting in trouble. Thankfully, no. That's just, but the service was called Matrix and the Europeans intercepted a bunch of messages. And why this doesn't frighten people more, I don't know. Because if the government can do this, so can bad actors. This is how we ended up here. We need strong encryption protocols. Sorry, just beating a dead horse here. So is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? Something that won't, get us in trouble, get us canceled, fired, thrown in jail?
Probably not in jail, but
yeah. I mean, just to be clear, rule of law, good. Violence, bad. Vigilante violence against executives, bad. Yeah, I honestly don't wish violence on almost anybody except for communists. And even then, you got to be careful about this stuff.
This is where you and I are two very different people. I think far too few people do not get enough violence in their life.
Yeah, it's the whole fuck around and find out thing. I mean, I think maybe by disposition, I'm really not a particularly violent person. I don't like violence. I don't enjoy it. You know what? This is a terrible thing to admit. I really don't like female martial arts boxing stuff, like MMA stuff with women beating the crap out of each other. It sends like a chill down my spine. I don't like watching women get beat up. That's just not the way I was raised. Even if it's two women beating each other, it's not fun.
As long as it's women and they're consenting. Like Foxy Boxing is like...
See, I'm just soft.
Dude, I should show you some of these Foxy Boxing channels.
I'm apparently just very soft. It kind of gives me the ick.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But there was one thing I was recently rewatching Drumhead, the Star Trek The Next Generation episode.
The Jellicoe thing, or which one was?
No,
that was with that terrible woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nora Satie.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to reiterate part of the speech that Picard gives, quoting the evil woman's own father, who was a judge, a very prominent judge in Starfleet. And he said, with the first link, the chain is forged. The first speech censored, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied, changes all irrevocably. And it seems even so much more prominent like now than it did 30 years ago when it came out, because it's just one of those truisms of our society that it's driving me nuts.
Yeah. And you mentioned the whole drug thing, and I'm fine with people having the freedom to do things, broadly speaking, in terms of the drugs. But you know what you don't have the freedom to do? Be out in public, not be able to keep your shit together, and then claim public property as your own thing. No, I'm just going to do a bunch of fentanyl and sit here in this tent on the corner of the street. It's like, this is not your street. It's everybody's street. And you can do drugs if you want, but keep your shit together. If you get to the point where you're not functional and just crapping on the street corner and doing fentanyl in a tent, I'm sorry, an intervention is going to happen.
Exactly. And my advocacy of it is hey, if I'm chilling in my own apartment and I want to chase the dragon, I should be able to chase the dragon without some fucking jackboot kicking down my door.
If you can manage your own shit. Basically, that's the thing, but you can't just do it on the street corner.
Or a danger to the public at large and your fellow human. It's that easy.
You can't build a casino in the national forest either. It's like this property isn't yours.
And have the support apparatus there. Kat, would you stop? apparatus there,
Sure.
like Portugal did when they decriminalized all drugs, to not persecute, but to help people who want to help themselves by getting off of addiction.
And Geodes is here at the end of the show. Hi, Geodes.
Hi.
Did you feel like you had to step in and separate me and Functional? You gonna be the referee?
No, I was trying. I was egging it on. I was going like, yes, go.
All
All right, fight.
Well, speaking of going, we're going to go now.
Wow.
I'm gonna
Hey.
go kill these cats.
Thank you. This has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. Zoo is closed. Good night, everybody.